And I'm back. Sorry, little technical difficulties. Apologies there. We're back live in the cellar at Second Glass. It is Wednesday night. People are drinking flights. We're having some fun. And we're drinking orange wine. Don't be afraid. I know it's Halloween. I know it's scary. It's cloudy. It's a color you don't expect. But I think you will all be very pleasantly surprised at how delicious, how fun, and honestly, just how much you might just like these wines. All right, so first off, we're kicking our way over to Alsace for La Grange Sparkling Pét-Nat. Clearly, we've gotten into this one a little bit because it is that tasty. Moving on over to California to some of the best labels in the game. I say it every time. I know it gets old, but it's so true. Trousseau Gris from Sonoma. And we're going to end it on a very fun note. One of my personal favorite skin contact orange wines, Ryme Cellars, their Vermentino His. So quickly to jump into what is orange wine. Simply, it is white wine that is treated like red wine. What do I mean by that? It is white wine left on the skins, which gives it color, texture, a little bit of tannins. And, you know, to me, it is the perfect white wine for red wine drinkers. You can drink it all the way chilled. You can drink it not fully chilled, but it goes great with food. And it is so much fun. And I mean, come on, it's orange, it's Halloween. Let's put two and two together. They make sense. So let's get into it. So LaGrange, we love bubbles here. We love Pét-Nats because they're fun. Farmer fizz, if you will. I don't necessarily love that term, but it is fun to say. This is the winemaker here, Jerome Francois. He works with a really local, very local Pinot Auxerrois variety, which I don't think I've ever seen outside of Alsace. It makes this really beautiful, pétillant natural, naturally sparkling orange skin contact white wine that is so fun to drink. Also, for those of you who see it, do not be afraid of the kind of remnants in the bottle. Those are just lees and little bits of the grape skins and things of that nature. Not dissimilar from kombucha. It's what makes the wine delicious. It also makes it extra healthy. If that's what you need to tell yourself, it won't hurt you, I promise. And I can tell you the wine is really tasty. I mean, right off the nose, it's kind of like really like concentrated like apricot compote, if that makes sense. Like kind of like reduced apricot notes, a little bit of citrus, some herbs. I mean, it is very cloudy, but in the best way possible. There's always, with most orange wines, at least in my experience, there's always a combination of like citrus and like citrus rind, citrus zest, a little bit of that bitter note, but still that high tone, like bright freshness that makes them so fun to drink. Yeah, there's a reason that wine is missing so much, or this bottle is missing so much. It is amazing. So freaking good. All right, again, that was LaGrange Sparkling Pét-Nat from Alsace, done orange skin contact style. Jumping into the always lovely Jolie-Laide, which roughly translates to pretty ugly. And these labels this year are so killer. I hate to harp on that because it's really the wine that outshines for these guys. They make incredible wines, but the labels are so spot on. I love these guys. Scott and Jenny Schultz making great wines out there in California. This year, the Trousseau Gris primarily comes from the Fanucci Wood Road Vineyard, and then they've also got a new vineyard they're working with. So this is all Sonoma County. You might notice in the notes I have it listed as Russian River. That's traditionally where it came from. There is some that's coming from another vineyard, so it is now Sonoma County. Not a lot of people working with Trousseau Gris. It's a variety you find in the Jura. It did definitely become part of like the hipster sommelier crowd. Like, oh, we're making these fun wines from this variety you've never heard of. And it definitely is that. But I've had several others, and I like the other ones. But for me, the Jolie-Laide is always top notch. One of my favorites. And it's also Celeste the owner here at Second Glass, it's one of her personal favorite wines. So every year she buys this. Just excellent, excellent juice. The nose is kind of like white peaches. Really mineral. There's like always a saline saltiness to this wine for me every year that I love. Great texture, great mouthfeel. You know, a telltale trait of orange wine for me is having a little bit of that like tannic structure, you know, what we could call bitterness, but like in a good way, sort of like how, you know, coffee without bitterness isn't very interesting, or like good tea without bitterness is just sort of like water with like flavoring. That bitterness that you get from the skin contact makes everything in orange wine, and I think Jolie-Laide just knocks it out of the park. So good, so fresh is really like the telltale here. You know, some orange wines can go really, really deep amber and be overly tannic, which are really hard to digest and really hard to understand for most people. What the Trousseau Gris from Jolie-Laide does for me is it's like the perfect middle ground. It's a great entryway into skin contact whites. That's enough skin contact that you get that characteristic that I think most people who like orange wines enjoys, which is that tannic structure, but not so much that it's off-putting if you're not used to it. Always great. Wonderful job, Scott and Jenny. And then on into Ryme Cellars. Now, this is definitely the most intense wine of the lineup. The one that I think really showcases what, you know, the great, you know, quote unquote, great orange wine or skin contact wines of the world are all about. Beautiful, beautiful color. And for me, every year this wine smells and tastes like an autumn day. You know, dried leaves like falling off the trees, crunching under your feet, the smell of spice, a little bit of like blood orange citrus zest. So pretty. There's definitely more structure here. This is a wine for food. This is not a, you know, an orange wine that really, whereas like the Jolie-Laide and even the Pét-Nat are really delicious on their own. I mean, they go great with food, but they stand on their own quite well. They don't have to have food. The Ryme for me really shines once you have a little bit of something to eat. You know, some charcuterie, you know, something of that nature. We actually tasted it with Chef, and he even suggested, which I thought was so like different, but also super spot on, was having like it with dessert, with like the custard dish that they're rocking right now. So I don't know, prove me wrong or prove me right. Come in, have the custard dish while you're having this beautiful wine. Oh, so good every time. Absolutely stunning. Again, things to remember about orange wine. Don't be afraid. It's just orange wine. It is white wine left on the skins. It is not a scary subject. No, it is not made with oranges. Although they do tend to have some citrus orange-like characteristics, there are no oranges were harmed during the making of these wines. And 3, they're delicious. So what else do you need to know? Come out, support your local businesses, have an amazing flight, have some great food, be safe, and I'll see you guys next week.